I'm Andrew from the Data.io podcast. Life supplies the inputs and we supply the outputs. Part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other fantastic and amazing geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 364 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, June 30th, 2019. It is the final show of June. We could not have gotten much more final, and we do have a full house here for you today. As per normal, I'm joined by my regular guest host. There's the one and only Willie Nelson.
Hey, that's me.
And, of course, the one and only Anthony Bachman with the faux hawk going on.
A little bit. What's up, fuckers?
And we're, of course, joined by a recurring guest host. You know him in the chat room as Sailor Poland. We also know him as Peter G. Peter G's with us today.
Well, it's popping, people. How's it going?
And he's got some interesting shit to tell us about. Let me just put it this way. It involves Taco Bell. Willie's going to have strong thoughts, I have the feeling. Willie, do you have strong thoughts on Taco Bell?
I'm trying to remember the last time I had Taco Bell.
Do you have strong feelings, particularly in your bowels right now about Taco Bell?
All restaurants are Taco Bell. They won the franchise wars.
Run for the toilet. Taco Bell's done it again.
They have been surpassed by Chick-fil-A, though. It is now the number 3. I read a random news article at work. Number 3 fast food chain in America is Chick-fil-A, and they're only open 6 days a week. Imagine what would happen if they're open 7 days a week and they didn't sell hate chicken.
Well, God, but I mean, I'm glad they sell that hate chicken because hate chicken apparently tastes delicious.
Hate chicken is
Wouldn't-
quite delicious.
Well, no, never had it.
It's okay.
It's
the waffle fries are more of a novelty, but I mean, it's fast food chicken.
Well, I can't deny that.
I tried a couple times because a friend of mine, she had a cousin who started working at one, and she said, "Well, why don't we go there and have dinner?" I said, "Well, I don't, it's like, remember, I'm a Christian. I'm like, I don't like Chick-fil-A and their stance on things." She said, "That's why I want you to go. Imagine the look on their face if they found out a Christian like you was hanging out in their restaurant." I'm like, "Okay, that works for me." So, and I went there, and it was fine. There were plenty of other options, but I don't really think I have the desire to go there again. I tend to be very odd when it comes to food. Years ago, back when Barnes & Noble was selling like a ton of magazines and had newspapers from around the country, my idea of fun on Friday night, if I wasn't dating, was to go out, buy a stack of newspapers, a bunch of magazines, and go somewhere and just read for the rest of the night. And one day I'm driving by and I see a Hooters. I'm like, I've never been to Hooters before. Maybe I should go in there. I've heard about it. And as I get out of the car and I'm in the parking lot, I'm saying, I'm going to be the only person who's actually here for the food. And I just turned around and went back.
Hooters has decent grilled grouper sandwich.
I've been to Hooters a couple of times. I do not understand what the big deal with the wings is. The wings just leaves this horrible aftertaste in my mouth. I do not like the wings.
I've had good wings from there before, but that was when I was just like 10 years ago. Now I hear all the bad wings. I'm like, I'm not going anymore.
Yeah, well, to be fair, you're not going there for the food. You're going there for the eye candy. So,
To be fair,
but no, not really. Because I mean, sure, I love tits, but I mean, I don't really care. Yeah, they're behind shirts. I'm not gonna see any, so what do I care? Function over form. That's what I say.
Yeah, you're more of a tilted kilt man, I'll bet.
Nothing wrong with the tilted kilt. We had one. It closed.
Yeah,
Oh wait, a what?
Tilted kilt.
I thought you meant like I had a boner while wearing a kilt.
Oh no. Imagine if Hooters and Highlander had a baby, and that's what you get with tilted kilt.
Yeah, exactly.
The food's actually good. Food's pretty good there, though. So
we had one in town here, but it was in the cursed location. It's a location that constantly gets shut down because business only lasts a few years, and they had a problem of the fact of they didn't want to pay their taxes. So they got shut down.
There's actually a pizza place right down the way that, or a location that pizza places love to go to, but for some reason they don't look back like, wait, who had this before? Another pizza place? Oh, they closed down? Oh, well, maybe we shouldn't open up a pizza place in the same location then.
Yeah.
That happened 3 or 4 times.
And so I will.
Yeah,
eat my-
that's
Go ahead.
got. I was gonna say, yeah, that's where in screenwriting the term Habanos came from. There's a restaurant across the street from one of the studios that was owned by Sonny Bono, and it had a reputation for a restaurant would open up there, be shut down in a few months, and then another one would spring right back up. And basically, Bono's became an inside joke among screenwriters for a joke you put in, it doesn't work, and you just keep putting more and more jokes in and replacing them, but none of them ever work. They always die. And it's inspired by the restaurant.
That's like my job description in this podcast.
Dead jokes.
He's not wrong.
I feel attacked.
We would never attack you, Willie. Never.
I know, 'cause I
would.
picked you up and I threw on you before.
You would probably be closer to a Nakamura than a Habanos. So
I don't know that one either.
Okay. A Nakamura, the actual origin of the term is kind of lost in obscurity. I've heard it was from the Newhart show. I've heard it was from different things. The idea of it was the show had this skit, and there was supposed to be a running gag with this product from a Mr. Nakamura, and the joke bombed. And there was just like 7 callbacks. So, well, we should ask Mr. Nakamura, and it just kept dying every time. So the idea of a Nakamura is a joke that if the first joke does not land, every joke that ties into it after it is just going to fail harder and harder. It's like a cascade of failure. So hence a Nakamura. But yeah, I've heard it was The Odd Couple or it was Newhart. I have never been able to pin down exactly where it started from, but it all started from a joke about a Mr. Nakamura that just fell apart.
That sounds like me right now. I'm falling apart.
Like I said, I think you're closer to a Nakamura than a Bonos.
I need to talk to an adult.
Well, you're not on the right show then, because there's no actual adults here.
Chris, but
Nope.
you're the most adult person here.
How am I
Yeah.
the most adult person here? Please explain
That's a
that
low
to me.
bar.
I mean, look at Bachman.
What about Anthony?
Look at him. Just look at him.
He's got that Ferris Bueller shower mohawk going on there.
Damn right.
Nice reference.
I mean,
Life
I've
goes pretty
played.
fast, fuckers.
I've seen how he plays Dead by Daylight. He is not a team player. I'm messing with you, playing with you, Bachman. Teasing you.
Hey, do they have their dedicated servers yet, Willie?
No, it's fucking summer. When the fuck is it? It said, "Oh, we're coming in the summer." Where's fucking summer? Where's
to be
the
fair,
shit at?
Willie, it's been summer for less than a week. I'm sorry.
what?
To be fair, it's been summer less than a week.
Less than a week. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
summer's
so. I
not
guess it's
over.
technically
summer
summer.
just started,
They have
Willie.
time.
I'm sorry, it's hot as balls here. It felt like it's been summer for like 2 months.
They just put out a killer like 2 weeks ago, and they're still trying to balance that.
Yeah, and they're
They
also
just
fucking put out
crappy
mobile
sale.
versions and goddamn Switch versions. It makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, so they're working on a lot of stuff. The servers are coming though. They're dedicated on the public test build. When you use the public test build, you're on the dedicated servers. They do work better.
Yeah.
But also, when they put out Ghostface, they fucked up matchmaking again. So they got to go back and fix that now.
Yep. We're making problems, but making more problems.
That's what always happens when you patch a game.
Live services are the future.
It is a games as a service.
You put something new in, and it changes some code that you created 3 years ago that you didn't expect it to change in a certain way, and then you have to deal with the consequences and the fallout. And that's what they're doing, and they're working on it. So the game's progressively getting better. I actually went back and started watching some Hybrid Panda videos when he started streaming it in like 2016. If you go back and look at the original UI of Dead by Daylight in the first year and how fucking dark that game was, I don't know how people played it. Like,
Well, apparently,
wow,
they,
it was bad.
like before we started, they had that offering where you can make the moon brighter or darker.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah, you actually made the entire world darker. There's
And
some videos where you can barely see anything.
And did I hear you mention something about the Fallout, like Fallout 76, and that terribleness?
No,
No.
I was saying you have to deal with the fallout
I know.
of updating.
I know. I'm just trying to mention Fallout 76 is bad.
Are you
Chris,
trying to
did you
trigger-
pre-order
76
that?
didn't update.
Yeah, and you know, I've eaten crow on this show multiple times, and well deserved. I self ate the crow.
Oh,
over
you're not alone
Fallout
in this.
76.
I'm also going to bring up
I-
Anthem too.
I spent $140 on Anthem. Come on now.
Oh,
I
God,
bought
I'm so
2
sorry.
copies.
I could have spent $20 on Anthem, and I decided not to the other day. There you go. That
telling-
tells you how excited I am for a Bioware
Well,
game.
I mean, at least Anthem's
telling
not
ya,
as bad as
it's
76.
It's worth $20. It's worth $20 as a flight simulator.
Dude, I got
Like,
so much
it's
stuff in
that
my
pretty.
backlog. I don't have time
Oh no,
right now.
I'm not saying you need it. I'm saying it's worth the $20.
And I got
If
Xbox
you
Game
spent
Pass.
$20 on it, if you spent $20 on it, you wouldn't be mad.
I've literally
That's
seen
what I'm saying.
an Xbox console being sold for I forget how much, and then an Xbox console with 76, the exact same model, for $100 less.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
We're paying you to take this game.
Please take it from us. We don't want it.
He's not wrong, but
BRB.
If they were smart, they would put a copy of the PT on there because those you can buy a console with the PT on it for like $1,800. So
We talking about like with the
Silent Hill,
PT?
yeah.
yep.
Yeah, what was it called? It was called
Who's PT?
Uh,
it was
yeah. PT stood for something
Playable
teaser. What?
playable trailer.
Playable trailer. That's what it was. Yep. I had my original PS4 had it on it, and now I
Yep.
can't ever get it again.
So one of the cons we have here, the West
Fuck
Virginia
you.
Pop Culture Convention, they do a big gaming setup in the back, and the one dude always brings his PlayStation with PT on it because so many people want to play it. It's legit a draw at the con. People be like, "You've got PT, I want to be able to go play it."
But is the playable trailer for what?
It was Silent Hills. It was supposed to be Kojima and Del Toro were going to collaborate on a Silent Hill game.
Oh yeah. Was that the one that also had Norman Reedus in it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Okay.
basically Konami got pissy with Kojima and canceled every last thing. And
That's right.
now we
I
have-
remember that now.
yeah, and now we have Death Stranding coming, and Konami is, well, they're making money from pachinko machines, so they don't care. But, you know, Konami used to be one of my favorite companies. I used to buy stuff by Konami sight unseen because I love their stuff so much. You know, Dance Dance Revolution, Gradius, the Turtles games. They knew, of course, Castlevania and Contra. They
Contra, I
knew
was gonna say, yeah, they gave
yeah.
us the shooter of its generation.
yeah, and I mean, it didn't pull any punch. It was hard as balls, and that was the whole point of it. Now, you know, we're getting pachinko machines with pre-rule 34 rendered characters in them. Yeah, what happened to Konami?
oh, fuck Konami.
Yeah,
No,
That's how
seriously.
you really feel, Willie.
Fuck
no,
Konami. Jesus
Yes,
Christ. I
really.
mean, they fucked up by just fucking over shit, what's his name? Hideo Kojima.
Mm. Well, I mean, when they started folding up the Beam and I division, just making it and just splitting it up among the different houses to just do sound, you know, and then they got upset when people started making Dance Dance Revolution clones. It's like, well, that's what happens when you don't do an update for 5 goddamn years. People pick up the ball.
You're not wrong.
I mean, they thought people cared about the Metal Gear name. No, they cared about Kojima. That's where the bread and butter was,
Mhm.
and they were fucking blind to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it didn't help that Survive was just a stupid zombie Minecraft ripoff anyway.
Oh,
so.
I'm sorry, that never got released. That was not a thing. I'm fucking with you because it shouldn't have gotten released.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, it's when you have to pay extra for save slots as
Oh.
your micro. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what happened to Konami. It used to be I would buy anything by them sight unseen, but now I'm like, no.
Go back to making fucking pachinkos machines or what.
So it's exactly how I feel about anything that says Bioware on it anymore.
Oh, boy.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I was not attempting to take a shot there. I was just stating a fact about how
Yeah,
I feel on
fuck BioWare. Heard from here, Chris. Fuck BioWare.
it. Willie does not speak for the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. He, in fact,
I-
speaks for himself.
No, I speak for Chris as well. Chris is saying, I'm putting the words literally in his mouth. Fuck BioWare.
Willie
I
quit
have
putting
looked
stuff
at
in Chris's mouth.
To be fair, though, we don't need a whole song and dance anymore. To be fair, though,
We
for
do.
real, though, I'm going to say that's more EA's fault and not BioWare's fault in anything that the bad stuff that has happened.
Yeah, EA does tend to engulf and devour. So
So
This
I
is
will
true.
pull off fuck EA and kind of fuck BioWare.
That's like a callback to episode 4 of this show, where I think that was actually a title because I can't even remember what we were pissed about, but it was more EA. How did we put it at the time? EA fuckery, I think is what we called it.
That sounds about right.
It's
That
not
sounds like a
BioWare's
100%.
fault their company got bought. It's not the employees' fault that they've got bought and turned into shit.
mm, Yeah, that's like blaming the staff of Dungeon Keeper 2 for the mechanics that EA forced in there.
Oh God, are we
One
talking
move
about
in
this now?
24 hours.
We gonna talk about this now?
No. We're not going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the news of the week.
Oh, okay.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
So we are up to the news of the week. It's that part of the show where we run down what is in our minds some of the most interesting geeky and or nerdy news to have popped up in the last week that we want to talk about and share with you guys and potentially give our takes on it. And I think it is only fair that if we have a guest here this week, we let our guest kick us off. So Sailor Poland, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm the Billy Mays of ATGN. I throw in an extra story free. Let's start with the fast one because this is the one that's going to get the most interesting comments, I think. So if you're looking for something to do and you're heading to Palm Springs, unfortunately, the big tourist draw is now out. The Taco Bell Hotel sold out of reservations in 2 minutes. Yes. The reservations were available on July 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific time and was gone in 2 minutes. Yum Brands, let's see, the Bell, located in Palm Springs, California, was an existing hotel that the brand redesigned into a taco-inspired destination. According to the website, it has more than 70 rooms with pricing that starts at $169 per night. So, yeah, suddenly the value resorts at Disney don't look so bad anymore. Guests have to be 18 years of age or over to stay and will have a wristband in order to access rooms and common areas. Will operate for 4 nights starting August 8th, offering the Taco Bell lifestyle. Christ.
It's always great when you can't read through the article because it's so ridiculous.
Oh, lifestyle. See what type of
Taco
ridiculous word lifestyle is? Technically,
Bell
Attila the Hun had an active
lifestyle.
outdoor lifestyle.
So, does that mean that all
Oh.
the furniture is made with horse leather, just like the meat's made with horse meat?
No, it's not really horse meat they use. It's some meat byproduct that God knows what it is. It could be
I'm all
horse
right with
hoof.
that. It tastes good, and I don't die from it, so who cares?
And you get a colon
Menu-
cleanse.
Yeah, there you go. Bing, bang, boom.
That's what
Menu
happens. in
details
Big Bang
Make
Boom.
your weekend a good weekend.
Let's be honest, you don't know if you're going to die from it yet or not.
Well,
You're
don't
just
need
not
a
dead
colon
yet.
cleanse for
I hope I will. I mean, Jesus.
Taco Bell does the colon cleanse for you. See, menu details will be available in July. Let's see. There will also be a house DJ, a gym, and a hot yoga to work off the. Because yeah, when I think health food, I
A
think Taco
gym.
Bell.
So, can I go there for the spicy enchilada enema?
Oh,
You can go
fuck,
to
they
any
go
Taco
square
Bell for
dip.
the
I don't
spicy
believe it.
enchilada enema.
You're welcome.
Ow.
A Taco Bell gift shop. Oh, and let's see. They also have Taco Bell cantinas. The Las Vegas Cantina location on the Strip includes a VIP lounge, a DJ booth, and a gift shop. Couples can also rent space for the wedding.
I think I don't know the meaning of cantina after hearing about that.
Doot, 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 doot. That's
Yeah,
what the
I
meaning
got
is.
that. You better be careful with that.
They aim to add hundreds of these things by 2022. And the brand has launched pop-ups in the past, like Taco Bell 2032 event in San Diego in 2018 to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Demolition Man.
Oh God.
Yeah, they actually went through with that.
Well, it's only in America. In Europe, it's Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
So the
According
joke's lost.
According to Kalinowski Equity Research, the Taco Bell brand stands for, quote, fun and energy.
Energy?
And its fans are a passionate group. We ramen noodle eaters are more passionate than Taco Bell. And ramen noodles have some seriously fine salt in them, I'm telling you right now. And taken together, the brand can do something seemingly as far-fetched as launch a resort, and there will be interest. Yeah, Taco Bell seems to do a really good job of cultivating their fans and doing things a little differently.
I'm sorry, I'm still lost on here. Energetic?
Yeah.
So I
They
got
serve
this.
all the
I got
gamer
this.
fueled drinks now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Baja Blast. I mean, that's just delicious. Not gonna lie. Thank you, Taco Bell, for that. But I mean, energetic. For when you want to run, get the runs.
I see what you did there.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Well, let's face it, colossal amounts of money are won and lost every day wagering what load of horse shit the American public is going to buy next. 2 years ago, Mountain Dew was taste testing a drink called Dewitos. Mountain Dew flavored or
God.
Doritos flavored Mountain.
Uh,
There was a Reddit user called Joe's Nipples who they had actually tested on his campus. They had a whole display. He took pictures of it and everything. So this was not a joke. God help us all. And I
Did he describe it?
He said it tasted really horrible, as you might expect. It
Oh,
tasted
that's it?
liquefied Doritos.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that could have been worse is if you open the cap and the cauldron born pop out of the bottle. I mean, that's it.
I mean, well, I heard poplars are delicious, so yeah, give me that.
Well, that's like saying, chicken, buffalo wings are delicious. Coca-Cola is delicious. Why don't we put them together in one drink? Because you don't mix the flavors like that. You need them separate.
They do make buffalo wing sodas. Just like they make bacon sodas. Oh, the saltiest fucking thing. Blech. Now this Mountain Dew and Dorito, and I've tried fucking Mountain Dew brew where they fermented Mountain Dew. That actually wasn't bad. Wasn't great. Wasn't bad.
Well, Mountain Dew was originally created as a mixer for moonshine, so that's actually kind of close to its intent. That's not a joke. It was intended as a mixer for moonshine.
And for all you underage people, here's a little trick for you. If you mix Mountain Dew and Captain Morgan's original spice rum just right amount, it tastes like cream soda. For real. I was like, oh, this is fucking cream soda. This is Mountain Dew. This is fucking Captain Morgan's. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, and if you mix Mountain Dew and Monster together, it tastes like failure and tears.
And your name's Kyle.
So yeah, there's a if you were counting on that little party idea, you're out of luck. You're better. Well, Star Wars Land is completely open in Disneyland, and attendance is is in the shitter, so you can always just go there.
Wait, does that mean that there's a high attendance or low attendance? I don't know from that.
Low.
Really?
Star Wars Land is now open for general attendance. A lot of people are saying it's because, the fans are standing up and rejecting the Disney Star Wars. Overlooked in all these people crowing about how they're bringing corporations to their knees is that for some reason, Disney has not allowed annual pass holders to get into the parks for this month. So your wait time in line for rides is less than 30 minutes. And Star Wars Land is practically deserted. So if you're looking to go, and keep in mind, this is the summer when all the kids are out of school. This is supposed to be the worst time to go to Disney. You can go there now, and it's practically like a private party there. There's almost no one there. So this is the time to go now.
So the way it was described to me when I was in Orlando for my honeymoon is the week before Memorial Day, our Uber driver was talking to us. A couple different it said, this is like the best week ever because nobody's here this time. And I wasn't at Disney. I was at Orlando. I was at Universal. But I kid you not, I don't think, unless it was a Harry Potter ride, I waited in line more than 10 minutes for anything. Without my Express Pass. The Express Pass was almost useless on some stuff. Like, I literally walked right into Men in Black. No problem whatsoever. Just got on the ride. Simpsons ride, I think I had a 5-minute wait. So, like, that week before Memorial Day weekend was awesome. By Friday, everyone started coming in. So, yeah, had Star Wars Land been open, maybe I'd have tried to go down there. But I think you're right. Part of the problem would be is if they're not letting Express Pass holders in, that's a huge chunk of people that would probably count towards that. I don't really consider this all, we're bringing the Disney Corporation to its knees that people are crowing about.
I keep hearing, oh no, fandoms aren't toxic. It's just people trying to spin a false narrative. Yeah, when you're bullying a 7-year-old girl, it's time to reassess your whole priority system here.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they shouldn't be talking back like that.
Well, remember, I'm a My Little Pony fan, so I saw the rise of the bronies. I saw grown-ass men shoving 10-year-old girls out of the way in the toy aisle so that they could get the toys before them. When you're actually doing shit like that, you're not a fan. You're just an asshole. Get out of here.
And they won't.
Yeah, because they're bigger, so they get to complain about shit. But
no, I get to take care of action. Knock those little 7-year-old girls out the way. This is my doll.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Every time I hear some guy say, no, we're the real My Little Pony fans, I'm like, no, it's meant for little girls, dude. Get a grip.
There's no such thing as a real fan anymore. I get tired of that expression that's put out there. You can like something or not. It doesn't matter if you've liked it since you were 7 years old and someone just found it yesterday and became a fan. Everyone can be a fan. Don't put it on different levels. You can be like, I've been a
Yeah.
fan for a long time. You can say that. That's fine. But it doesn't put you over someone else in regards to fandom. Like, for instance, I'm going to go for an easy one here. Bachman and Willie love Letterkenny. They've all watched a ton of it. They started watching, what, like a month ago? I've watched 3 episodes, and I'm
2
way
months.
behind them. They're not better than me as Letterkenny fans because they started before me. They're better because they've watched more episodes, arguably. But
Well, hey,
Yeah,
I fall
better
outside.
for it.
I fall outside you guys on a lot of different things. It doesn't make me inherently better. It doesn't make you inherently better. We just have different tastes. We would go to the
Yep.
multiplex, go see our own shit, and then we'd get back together. It
Here's what
doesn't
I'm
make
hearing.
But I'm going to add my caveat that I put on Twitter a while ago. If you like some of the Star Wars fans in quote, if you spend more than 50% of your time now complaining about something, you're no longer a fan of that thing. Those aren't Star Wars fans. Those are just people complaining on the internet.
what if I'm spending my time complaining about the people complaining about it? Does that count?
Oh,
It sounds
little
like
bit-
you guys are just trying to be gatekeepers to who can be a true fan or not.
no.
That's
no.
me.
First,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
First
I'm
you
a
have the
gatekeeper.
announcement, First you have the announcement, then you have the backlash, then you have the backlash to the backlash, and then you have the backlash to the backlash to the backlash to the announcement. It's the
All I know is
circle
I still like
back.
Star Wars. I just got my prequels back from my buddy who he finally realized he'd borrowed them because I didn't know where they were for like 6 years. And I'm going to watch them again because I like the Darth Maul fight.
And also that song, was it Duel of the Fates?
Duel of the Fates.
Yeah,
God damn, I just jizzed in my pants.
Yeah,
Good
John
song.
Williams knocked it out of the park with that. I wasn't a fan of his music for a long time because it seemed like he was coasting, but Duel of the Fates, he just nailed it. He still got it. I think he just needs a little more focus, but yeah, he knows how to nail it. He's been kind of surpassed by Alan Silvestri as far as movie composing goes in my book, though. So
I've also enjoyed a lot of what Michael Giacchino, I think is how you say his name, has done too.
Yeah, Chiquito's does some good stuff.
yeah, well, I mean, Silvestri, he did the score for the first Captain America, and he's just been with the Marvel movies since. And I wasn't overly impressed with Avengers, but you got to admit that theme is iconic. The guy just nailed it.
The track Portals is phenomenal on that soundtrack. I have listened to it multiple times. I want to change my alarm clock sound to Portals.
Mhm.
It used to be the ATeam, and my wife said that was a no-go anymore
The
because
theme song to the ATeam?
oh hell yeah. What
Oh, yeah,
would
I
be
have-
wrong
okay.
with the theme song for the ATeam as your wake-up sound? What better way to get pumped up in the morning to hear the ATeam theme? You wake up and you're like, yeah, I'm ready to conquer this fucking day. Let's go. But the problem is the person that shares the bed with you might not be ready to wake up and conquer that fucking day because you wake up 3 hours before them.
And that's why I'm not married.
The ringtone for my phone is set
Is that
so
the only
it's
reason?
Well, let's leave what we discussed before the show out of this for now. But yeah, my cell phone ringtone for my work, if my work tries calling me, is the Minion March from Despicable Me. So
My ringtone when my boss calls me is Like a Boss by the Lonely Island.
Oh, God. Does he suck his own dick?
No, my boss is pretty cool.
Does he fuck a fish?
okay.
No.
So anyway, yeah, Taco Bell Resort, go nuts. But so the big thing to talk about though is we now have a public beta for the iPad OS. This was announced at the Apple Developers Conference. Apple Developers Conference is always interesting, and you can tell Apple is trying to realize that their years of being user hostile are starting to catch up to them now. Because for example, at the Apple Developers Conference, they have a new 6K monitor. This thing is $5,000. It is absolute top of the line, but it needs a special stand. The Xvisa stand that you can attach on the back is $200, and the special magnetic mount is $1,000. And yes, they're sold separately. So, and as soon as he announced $1,000, he lost the crowd. The crowd started murmuring, and it shook him up through the rest of his presentation. So, but they are starting to go back to listening to the crowd for a few things, and part of it is iPad OS. Although they're still a little, I guess, still a little hostile, shall we say? This weekend, I went to Best Buy and I talked to the Apple guy. He had no clue what was going on. He just, well, it's still in beta. We don't know anything. So
Then he's poorly trained, because if you want to know about the iPad OS beta, you can download it, and there's tech blogs have already installed it and gone, here's the stuff that works, here's the stuff that doesn't, here's the promise to it. So that dude who's working the Apple center of things needs to go and read some shit.
Yeah. Well, there were some people on the Coder channel who do have it, and I was able to get a little bit of information on it, and it's a very mixed bag of what we're getting. Basically, so the MacBook Airs, the absolute low-end MacBook Airs, are supposed to be like your everyday computer for Mac. And this is clearly intended to surpass that a little bit, to try and make your iPad Pro, at the very least, your everyday computer. Now, I say the iPad Pro because it is supposed to be support on any iPad that runs the A8 or A8 or the A8X chipset. So any iPad Mini predating 4 will not work. Anything after that, iPad Air 2, the current gen iPads and the iPad Pros will supposedly run it. But that's still, we got to see what features will be implemented or not. Because remember, the pencil doesn't work with some things, even though the hardware is basically the same.
And it also depends on which pencil you have, too, because there's Pencil Gen 1 and Pencil Gen 2. Like, I was at Best Buy on Friday, and Pencil Gen 1 was on sale for $60, and I was looking at it, and he goes, well, which iPad do you have? Because it doesn't work on all of them. And I went, wait, oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Now, it would have worked on mine.
Wait. So you can't forget to bring your number 2 pencil?
No.
Fuck y'all, that was gold. Fuck
No.
you pieces of... I'm out of here.
Save it for the brick wall hack. Okay, so the changes that we're looking at, this is from people on the channel who have actually been playing with the beta. First thing is that there are smaller icons so you can fit more on the page, and on your main home page you can right swipe to bring up your widgets on the side, so it's a little more Android in that regard. It does have better support for split view and slide overs. They call them instances. They're windows. Give me a fucking break. Some apps will allow 2 instances of the same app, like Notes and File Explorer, but you can't do 2 Word docs. It still has to be a feature implemented in the software itself. External storage support. Fucking finally. You will now be able to use that USB-C without having to buy an iExpand drive from SanDisk in order to use it. You will have to plug in a dongle, but let's face it, Apple's all about dongles nowadays anyway. You can bring up the columns view in File Manager, and you can transfer just like a regular file manager. So it's actually pretty much what you're supposed to be. You can drag and drop things, see data. It's what we've been demanding for ages now. The desktop views websites as you can see desktop websites as a default now. You don't have to hit refresh and hold it every time a page loads. There's an actual scroll bar, and you can pinch the keyboard to shrink it so that you have more real estate to see the screen.
One of the nice things I heard with their new desktop version, or not having to change to go to the desktop, is you can actually use Google Docs in the Safari browser now with about 90% functionality, they were saying.
Okay. Mouse support is there, but there's a catch. The mouse support is not an actual mouse support. It's assistive touch. So you have to go into accessibility, click it, and left click only works. Can't use the scroll wheel, and you can't right click. So basically, it's the puck mouse all over again. Yeah. It's like, okay, fine, here's your mouse support, but that doesn't mean we're going to fully implement it. Screw you. And it has a dark mode. My Apple TV has had dark mode since the day I got it, so it took them long enough to put that on here. And a feature called Sidecar. If you have an iPad, there's an app called Duet, and one called Luna Display, which basically turns your iPad into a second monitor for your Mac. And Duet requires a wired connection. You have to plug into the USB. Luna might. I haven't played with that. Duet, I know, supports up to iOS 8.0, so it's been around for a while. Sidecar will let you do that wired or wirelessly, and it will just act as a second screen to your Mac.
Does that second screen work as a touch screen when you do that?
Yes, it will. And in fact, if you're one of those sadists, you can also get it to have the touch bar that you have on the MacBook laptops on there.
The touch bar they still haven't quite figured out what to do with?
Yeah. I friggin' hate the touch bar. The only reason I would consider a MacBook Air is because it still has regular keys instead of a touch bar to deal with. But
it has the butterfly keyboard, though, which is if you get a piece of dust under it, potentially stops working.
They supposedly have a membrane now to keep the dust out, but I don't like the feel of the keys anyway. They don't have a lot of travel.
They're super shallow.
Yeah, so I would much rather have at least a semi-robust keyboard from before. But then again, remember, other than my iPad, all my Apple gear is from 2011 or before, because I can still upgrade it and fix shit with it. And because the thing is that they're clearly trying to position the iPad as your everyday computer. So they're trying to make it more computer-like. But it might work for some everyday stuff, but like if you're a power user, you want access to a full file browser where you can see all your files. You want to be able to install and uninstall what you want. You want to be able to tweak the settings. You do not want the walled garden approach that the iPad champions. So they're making steps forward, but there's still too much interference. Plus the fact that it's harder to find bargains for the iPad than it is for the regular Apple. And there's still all the funny stuff you got to go through for open source if you want to get that stuff on there. So they're basically conceding a little bit, but the fact that they are tells me that they're aware that they're starting to lose the public a little bit. They need to do something. Chances are we'll see the Darwin project get some more ink before too long. But up until that point, it's like they're starting to realize it's like, wait a minute, people are not buying what we're selling anymore. We actually have to capitulate to them on a few things. And iPad OS is going to be the first step in that regard.
I'm intrigued. I have an iPad Pro. It's one of the 9.7-inch ones. When they shifted the size to 10.5, I got a 9.7-inch iPad Pro at Walmart marked down for like $350, 256 gigs of storage. I got the keyboard. Wow, I can't talk today. The keyboard with it also, because the keyboard case was down to like $30 or something like that. So I've played around with it a lot. Here's the problem. Here's the problem we run into. I have a Surface Book, which is Microsoft's tablet keyboard combination. It's like a laptop. 90% of the time when I didn't want to do work-related stuff, I default to that because I like the full-size keyboard. I like being able to sit it on my lap and be able to work with it. The iPad is a great tool for me when it comes to dicking around on the internet, doing simple stuff. But when it comes to productivity tasks, just the way it sits on that keyboard, it's not great to sit on my lap. I'm like, I don't want to have to go sit at the table. I want to lay back in my recliner and ignore things. So from a productivity standpoint in that regard, I don't use it a ton. But all of these things they're adding in the new iPad OS, I think they finally realized that making an iPad work exactly the same as the iPhone is dumb. You've got a lot more screen real estate. You can do things. The fact they've made it so you can put more apps on a single screen now, and so that they have on the left side of the screen like little widgets and stuff like you've had in Android tablets before. Not me saying they're copying Android, because everyone's had widgets. But
I am.
They're starting to find the way to say, hey, you can still make it very similar to the iPhone, but realize that it's its own separate thing. It has separate use cases. You can't merge everything into one bucket. So that's why you've seen them like spin off TV OS into its own thing, iPad OS now, and now just iOS, which encompasses phones and iPods now. I think the iPod runs the same OS.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, even if, like, say, my animation software, they make a port of it to my iPad, I don't want to be doing precision work on a 9.7-inch screen. There's a reason. Okay, I was talking about this before the start of the show. So I have an Acer Chromebook 15. This thing, I managed to put Linux on it, and it works. Because it's a Chromebook, it has a 16-gig hard drive. Well, it turns out the hard drive is removable and replaceable. So I'm getting a 256 on there. The specs are roughly going to be equivalent to that of the low-end entry-level MacBook Air. The CPU is a little faster. It's 1.5 compared to 1.3, but then again, it's a Celeron, so it's not going to run quite as fast. 4 gigs of memory, same as the entry level. It'll have almost twice the memory because they max out at 128. Unlike the MacBook Air, which has one headphone jack and one USB-C port, this still has a full complement of regular USBs, two display ports, the adapter and everything like that. You're not tied down to dongles. And entry-level MacBook Air is $1,000. When you count the cost of crossover Office, the hard drive, and what I paid, I got it for $125 new. A quarter of the price, I'm getting something that can keep pace with the entry-level Apple. If you guys want to convince me that what you're doing is so great, you need to bring more to the table than just that. If I can duplicate what you're doing with just a simple Linux setup and open source software, give me a reason to buy your caviar, will you?
So the problem, and it's the problem we've had for ages when it comes to an iPad, is there is nothing that is a definitive need that says, here is why you have to own an iPad. It's a complementary device. That's tablets in general. are complementary devices. So them trying to turn it into a productivity tool, that's great. But most people who would want to do that, they probably already have a laptop. And in fact, most of those folks probably already have a MacBook or a Mac laptop of some kind because they're already heavily invested in that ecosystem. So what they've done is they've made it so that you can use your iPad for everything, but you already have another device. So like I've seen challenges out there. What's the YouTuber's name? MBKHD Marquez is, I believe, is his first name. He's been doing stuff forever. He's doing a challenge right now, which is I'm just going to use my iPad for a week as my main tool. And you can probably get away with it. And with what they've done now, you can do about 90% of what you want, I wager. But
Well, it does work, but it's only working from what I'm seeing to a very, very small select group of users, and that is comic book colorists. Almost every person that I know that colors comics professionally now can do their entire job on their iPad, and so you'll see videos of them just sitting in an airport somewhere coloring pages of fucking Spider-Man or Batman or whatever, and they're doing it with the Apple Pencil on their iPad
or
because they don't need a laptop anymore.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen, the pencil on the iPad now is so much better than the Surface that almost every professional comic book colorist that uses it, that does it digitally that way, has been doing it on the iPad now.
The number 2 pencil.
Yeah, it's like the go-to setup for professional comic book colorists. But that's a very, very small select group of users that have been like, hey, this works really well for what we're doing now. Because now the iPad is running either full Photoshop or whatever they call Manga Studio now.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it's working for them. But, yeah, it's a very small group.
Like I talked about, I was at Best Buy on that Friday, and I was looking at the pencil that was on sale. And the guy was selling me on it, but I was like, well, what am I going to do with it? He goes, like, you can write your own notes in here. I said, yeah, but if I want to write notes, I'll use my Surface Book and write them in OneNote with the pen that's on that. Well, you can draw on it. I said, I have no artistic ability. So while I was intrigued by the pencil, I was like, what am I going to do with it? Because I look at the Surface pen that I have on my Surface Book, and I use it once in a while. I mean, my primary use case is when we're doing show notes for like the Starling Tribune or something like that. When I watch an episode of Arrow or Legends, I pull up OneNote and I handwrite my notes while I'm watching it because it's quicker for me to do that than type. But that's my use case, is I write notes. I already have a note writing device.
I got you. It's for when you want to use that tablet to play Jackbox games and be artistic with that.
So, Willie, I totally have done that. When you were hosting the Jackbox games before, I would get my Surface out and I would detach it and I would use the pen to draw things for like the T-shirt Hell game or things like that. I totally did it. So, yeah, I've been there. So the question for you, Peter, are you going to get the iPad OS beta, or are you just going to wait until they release it?
Well, I'm going to wait until they release it. My iPad is more or less just a companion piece, because I have computers for getting serious stuff done. Because I have computers for doing different things. Here's a surprise for you. I actually name my computers because it helps me keep track of who's doing what. Like the main Mac Mini that I use for my animation, I named Avery after Tex Avery, the animator. And it's like that one's for.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like, well, that's anything that's animation related gets something like that. And the convention is usually a desktop will get a male name and the laptops get the female names, but I have them set up for specific things, and they can run anything that I want on them. That's the main thing. Whereas once again, iPads still have that walled garden approach to things. It took how long for Firefox in order to get on iOS. And I'm still not even sure how they did that because of the terms of the GPL, because Apple's own terms of services violate the GPL. You can't do it. So I have no real reason to do it. It's like, yeah, I'll get the upgrade because I have to. It'll certainly make, like, if I go to say, because now the prices for Disney are starting to come down again. So if I decide to take a quickie dicky weekend to a Disney resort in Florida this year, if it's like a 4-day thing, then yeah, I could just take the iPad and that'll cover everything because it'll handle the desktop sites. I have an iSpan drive so I can watch movies on it. I have the great movie drive. It's 256 and it's got over 200 movies on it for watching on planes and that. But other than that, there's nothing that really makes me say I have to upgrade this thing and disregard everything else that I have.
That's fair.
The sidecar will make it handy for the animation because I can have the timeline and the actual display for what I'm animating on my TV set. Avery can handle that, and my iPad can handle the little selections and things like that. So it's useful to me as a supplement, but as far as becoming my everyday computer, No, my HP Mini 10 is my everyday computer for catching up with emails and seeing what everybody's doing for my connections and that. The iPad still has a ways to go. It's, going to a movie or something like that, sure, but for actually getting work done, the iPad still has a long way to go before it replaces a computer.
I tend to agree with you. That's the same boat I'm on with it. Is that my iPad's a complementary device. It very rarely leaves my house because it's just my convenient internet-connected device for doing simple things. If I need to do real work, that's when I bust out the laptop. If I need to podcast or do video editing, that's when I come down to this machine down here because I don't want to do that on a laptop because it would blow up into a flaming pile of death. Flaming pile of death.
Either that or the interface would drive you berserk because you can't use a regular mouse to do what you need to do with it.
That's also true. But
Wait, you can't?
Nope. Yeah, the mouse functionality on the iPad is going to be left click only. Scroll wheel and right click will not work.
I thought you were talking about a laptop as well.
Oh no! There's a reason that my Macs all have mice because I hate the trackpads that will only let you left click. Some of them will let you right click by using a 2-finger approach, but it's kind of hit and miss as to whether or not to text it. So it's like, no, just give me the mouse because I know that'll work.
no, that's fair. Speaking of things that work or don't work, Willie, why don't you tell us about the Pokédex?
That's not what I was going to go with.
God damn it! All right, never mind then.
But I will mention that. No, well, let's go into that though. Yeah.
Double dip like I did.
So I am pro hashtag bring back national decks. We need the full Pokedex.
I don't want a phone book.
I don't care what you would want or don't want. But anyway, the news I had is that some fuckery happened in the video game world.
Uh-oh. Please describe.
Dumb fuckery.
Not fun fuckery. It's some pretty damning fuckery. NBA 2K series.
Oh yeah.
They just had a recent update with their game before the new one comes out, and what it does is it plays an ad before every match you play. It brings up an ad for the new FX show Snowfall, and let's get into this for a little bit. This game is rated E for everyone, right? This show is TVMA. It's about the rise of crack cocaine. So have fun with that, kiddies.
Mommy,
Their
what if
update was they
took
slammed
part-
commercials inside of a video game.
Yep. And
You
then they
can't
put the
skip
game
them either.
down. They put the game on sale for like what, $20 or something last week, or $10 on a big sale. So buy the game on sale because you want to play NBA, even though it's after the season. Here, have some ads. Have some ads. I would be like, no, this is horse crap.
And you can't skip the ads either.
Oh yeah, it's a full. The game will literally load all the way up to 99%, and it will make you wait till that ad is done before it goes up to 100%. So, yay! This is probably gonna be the new problem coming up. Fuck microtransactions. Fuck loot boxes. This is the shit that they're gonna get you with.
Because at least the microtransaction you can ignore. You can be like, I don't want to buy this. The hell with it.
Well, I think it was
Most
like
games you don't have to go to the store.
I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. Sony had actually patented a way to pause their games and show commercials. So this has been coming for a while. We just haven't seen it implemented this brazenly before.
Well, since you brought up patents, I think Atari had the patent for the longest time to have mini games during a loading screen.
Mm.
That's why you only saw it in Atari games, because no one else could do it.
God,
But this is just a sign of a much bigger problem. As in, also, I've heard some things about Black Ops 4. Is that the last one that came out?
What? Activision is going to try and be shady and make more money? No.
Well, the problem is they said, hey, we're not going to do this thing. Pay to win. We're not going to put guns, for all these microtransactions, loot boxes, whatever. And so people bought the game. And now apparently with this update that happened for their summer release or their summer update or whatever it is, it pretty much changed the game. So this game you bought that you thought was going to be one way, nope, is no longer the game you thought you were buying. So sucks to people paid the full price when it came out.
Oh yeah, I mean they will exclude microtransactions in review copies, so people talk about how great they are, and then like a month later they'll patch it, and then the microtransactions are right there. So everyone who thinks they got something that wasn't going to have microtransactions winds up getting nailed.
Yeah, it's bull crap. That's what it comes down to. But is anyone really surprised that this is what things are turning into? They're trying to find as many ways to monetize as possible. My question would be, what kind of money are they making off of jamming ads into this game like that? What did FX pay them for that?
Well,
I can tell you.
It's probably quite a bit. Remember, with video games, because of all the things with patches and the information going back and forth with your gamer tag and your accounts and stuff like that, they have a microscopic view of what your buying habits are, what your demographic is. So it is, with television, you have like Nielsen's and stuff like that, where there's still a lot of guesswork. With this, they know exactly who it is, when they're online, how often they're playing. It is as precise as you can get. So that's going to fetch a premium price right there because they already know the buying habits and what people will react to on it. So it's probably a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think. I would love those numbers to come out at some point in time. It's ridiculous. I hope more game developers don't start going to this, where you hold me captive with an ad before I get to play a game. That's horse crap. That's not what I bought your game for.
And I am A-okay with, like, especially with the NBA games or whatever, like with all the advertisements on the sidelines and stuff, because that's just immersive, because they actually have that while you're watching a real NBA game. Those kind of ads I'm okay with 100%. But there are ones where you're, especially an E for Everyone game, you're putting in a crack cocaine fucking ad into it. Like, okay. I mean, sure, it might be about the downfalls.
So let me pose you a hypothetical then. Let's go the Amazon route, what they do with their Kindles and their Kindle Fires and stuff. What if there's two tiers of a game that comes out? You can buy the brand new ad-free game for $50, or you can buy the game where you have to watch an ad, say on the load screen or something like that, for $30. Would you be okay with that approach, where it is you get a discount to accept this ad that plays as part of your load process?
No.
I would be okay with it if you could update, or if you could upgrade it to the ad-free at some point in time.
Similar to what Amazon does, which is if you buy a device from them, you can then say, I'll pay the $20 6 months later because you don't like the ads being on it.
Yeah, that's the way the Kindles are.
If you are selling advertising space, you're making a lot of money from that. You have no reason to charge money for the game up front, period.
I don't disagree with that, but that'll never happen.
I am not paying for the privilege of watching commercials. If I'm paying full price for a game, there better not be ads in it.
So you don't pay for Hulu?
I don't have Hulu.
I pay for Hulu, and I pay for commercial free.
My wife pays for the commercial free version.
Because I haven't seen a commercial, and I don't know how long, unless I'm watching TV at someone else's place. I'm like, really? A commercial? And those Hulu ads, oh my God, when you stop watching commercials, and then all of a sudden they just pop up every so often, like, really? Another commercial? We just had one. Holy shit, how much? Another minute and a half? God.
That's what's been like with some of the stuff I watch on YouTube. There's like a 20-minute video and it will have 5 commercial breaks in it. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Mm-hmm. When the commercial breaks are longer than the video itself, you come on. Folks,
I mean, some of the commercials now are like pilots of episodes of TV shows. Like I saw one that started playing and it was a 30-minute commercial. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm watching a 10-minute video about fucking Apex Legends, and there's a 30-minute commercial that's a pilot for another fucking series. Like, what in the hell?
I did get very lucky with that because my buddy, he added me when a bunch of us friends, he added us into like a family plan, and I think he did or another guy got YouTube Red. So now my account on YouTube is commercial free as well.
YouTube Red is the greatest thing ever, having no commercials on there. It came with my Google Play Music, so I had to do my music through them.
Nothing has commercials I watch.
Not a single ad. Like I'm like, I want to watch this movie trailer, and you sometimes get those ones where it's like a 30-second teaser trailer, and you get a 45-second ad before it. Nonsense like that. Now I'm like, YouTube Red, son of a bitch.
If I want to see a trailer, I'm looking out for it. I'm searching for it. Don't bring it to me. I come to you.
Yeah, I was trying to watch an overview of the new iMac, or not the iMac Pros, the regular Mac Pros, the thing that looks like a cheese grater. They were going over the specs for it, and before the video starts, up pops a commercial for Wix. It's like, now if you're not interested in the website, go ahead and click skip the ad. I'm like, I can do that. And,
I guess it's kind of like when you get like coupons at a grocery store about like with a competitor brand from what you're buying. I'm getting this brand cat food, but here's a coupon for this other cat food. Like, no, give me a coupon for this fucking cat food I'm buying.
Yep. No, you're
Dicks.
not wrong.
Your cat food makes my cat throw up all over the floor. I don't want it.
Ads everywhere. Ads on the walls. Ads on your balls. Ads everywhere.
Holy shit, there's an ad on my anus.
Oh,
They're coming.
Of course he went.
They're coming.
All right, so
It's just winking at you.
let's move on to another topic here. We've talked about in passing Google Stadia and the concept of streaming gaming, be it Project xCloud, Sony's solution, which is name I don't remember all of a sudden. But the
PlayStation now.
there you go. The biggest concern has always been, hey, most of us here, at least in North America, our internet has some kind of data cap associated with it. Now, whether it's enforced or not is another story. Like, for instance, I have Comcast for my internet. I have a terabyte data cap each month. I have not broken that. However, I probably will here in the coming months, and I'll explain that later in the show. But one of the things that concerns people is Google Stadia was shown off at a Google event and then again at E3. And when people started running the numbers about what it would take to basically get this 4K HDR stream in, they ran the numbers and went, with 60 hours of gaming, most people are going to exceed their data cap. So what is it we're supposed to do here? And that's a legit concern. So Phil Harrison, who is the vice president and general manager of Google that's overseeing Stadia, did an interview with GameSpot, where he pretty much said they don't seem to think it's an issue. In the interview, he said, quote, "The ISPs have a strong history of staying ahead of consumer trend, and if you look at the history of data caps, in the small number of markets, the trend over time when music streaming and downloads became more popular, especially in the early days when it was not necessarily legitimate, data caps moved up. Then with the evolution of TV and film streaming, data caps moved up, and we expect that will continue to be the case." So,
he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
If they don't increase their data caps, that just makes Google Fiber look more appealing. So basically, anyone that does increase their data caps is helping Google. They can't lose with this proposition.
You can't get Google Fiber outside of a select few markets. That's the problem. You look in most places in America, and my community is roughly the same right now. You really have one choice, and you might have a secondary choice that you mean you're taking a lesser level of service. So where I am, I can either get Comcast internet, or I can get DSL, which by all accounts I'm lucky to get 10 megabits per second down on, and maybe 1.5 up. Now, there are other things that are happening. Like, we've got another company called Clear Fiber that's building out, that's doing $45 a month symmetrical gigabit. When they come into town, that'll make things change. You'll start to see prices change, data caps change, because that's also uncapped. But the problem here is most places only have one viable solution. That's all they got. The ISPs are going to adjust. I've had Comcast for a long time. It took them a long time after the original 250 gigabyte limit to decide to do, let's look at 1 terabyte. And thankfully, they're not enforcing it in my area, but they are in some others. And then you get charged like $50 for an extra 150 gigabytes or something like that. Some ridiculous overage fee. And that's bullcrap. And that's going to be one of the limits to all of these streaming services, is people are going to have to remember their data caps again.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also the question
neutrality.
There's also the question of the bandwidth. If you can actually support speeds to make a 4K game worthwhile. With a movie it buffers. With a game, you can't really buffer. So what you gonna do?
So according to Google, how their stuff works is if you have buffering, or rather if the connection goes down, it's not that they start to buffer it, they just reduce the quality of it until your connection scales back up. So they've got variable compression on the stream coming to you. So if, like, for instance, let's say all of a sudden you have something on your network that's decided to take up all of the bandwidth, say you're doing a backup to your cloud folder or something like that, and you don't have your QoS prioritized appropriately, then Google is going to scale down what you're seeing. So you go from the 4K image to, say, maybe 720p while it adjusts, stuff like that. So
really think as far down as they'll go? They might not. They might go down to 144. That happens on my iPad all the time.
It happens on my YouTube TV.
Yeah, I'll be watching a video in high def, and all of a sudden it's like postage stamp vision. It's like, what?
I have a 4K screen upstairs, and I had YouTube TV go and start displaying a 144p feed because my network was bogged down temporarily. It was miserable, and I hated my life as it was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Willie will be able to play the new Assassin's Creed, but it's going to look like Minecraft.
Yes.
If I'm lucky.
It's going to look like an Atari.
Oh, I'm playing Pitfall.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
So when he plays the new Uncharted on the cloud, everyone's going to think he's playing Pitfall, basically.
Well,
There you go.
I mean, I would be so lucky if we get another Uncharted. Oh, that'd be so great. I think that
Yeah.
story's done with. Way to make me feel all down and depressed now, Chris.
Well, you're
Fuck
welcome,
you.
Willie. Normally, you're the one
Wait.
that makes me feel sad and depressed about things, so
Good.
I like it when you do it. But hey, we're gonna let Anthony share his news. Maybe that will make you be less sad and depressed. So, Anthony, do what you can to cheer up the one and only Willie Nelson.
Then my news is going to make me happy. I don't know if it's going to help Willie at all.
Well, fuck Willie then.
After 7 movies and almost $1 billion, and the last film called Jigsaw, most people thought the Saw franchise was dead, but apparently it's coming back, and it's being brought back by a very unlikely person. Later this week, they start shooting on Saw Legacy, and the driving force for this has been Chris Rock, the comedian, who apparently is a giant fan of the Saw franchise and took an idea to Lionsgate that was so good that they pushed forward with getting another movie made because they loved the idea that he brought them. So it's going to be a... Yeah.
Is this going to have anything to do with the Bourne Legacy?
No.
Okay.
No, it's going to be Saw Legacy, I think, is the working title. It's still listed on IMDb as an untitled Saw project. But Joe Drake, the chairman of Lionsgate, and I'm getting all this from a Geek Tyrant article about the movie, says when Chris Rock came to us and described in chilling detail his fantastic vision that reimagines and spins off the world of the notorious Jigsaw Killer, we were all in. Saw is one of the highest grossing horror franchises of all time and one of Lionsgate's most successful film series. The upcoming film will be as mind-bending and intense as all the previous Saw films, and Chris conceived this idea and will be completely reverential to the legacy of the material while reinvigorating the brand with his wit, creative vision, and passion for this classic horror franchise. And it is kind of nuts, but apparently he's just a huge fan. And I went back and looked at the numbers. The original budget for the first Saw movie, because they wanted to make the cheapest horror film ever, 2 guys in a room, why are they there? And from that, they came up with the script for Saw. They did $1.2 million was the original estimated budget. It grossed $56 million in the U.S. and cumulative $103 million worldwide. Over the course of the franchise, if you check out Box Office Mojo, from Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Jigsaw, added together worldwide, they've made $976 million. It's 7 films, but they made almost $1 billion on a killer that doesn't kill people. Like, it's insane that it's gone this far. And I was... at first it was like, with the whole Child's Play thing, they're bringing it back again. It's like, you always look for those things that make it iffy. You're not sure about, like Child's Play, the original writer and the voice actor are going to do the TV series. They're not involved with the movie. So I'm iffy on the movie. But in this one, they brought in Darren Boozman, who tweeted, start shooting the new Saw film in just a few days. Something I never thought I'd be typing again. Got to be honest, no one is ready for the insanity about to bleed onto the screen. That was on June 25th. Darren Boozman is the guy who directed Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, Repo the Genetic Opera, The Barons, Abattoir. Like, this is a guy who's done horror films. And they're bringing back the writer who worked on, what's his name? Josh Stolberg.
Arnott.
No, Josh Stolberg. Story adapted by for the writing credits on the new one. He's the one that wrote and directed the last film, Jigsaw. So you have people that just worked on the previous film and people that have directed other previous Saw films all coming back. They've got James Wan and Lee Wannell, the original creators, listed as executive producers, but more than likely that's just because their names have to be on it because it's a Saw project. But yeah, they're on there with Chris Rock. So, I mean, you got people that were involved in almost all the previous incarnations coming forward and making a spinoff that's being produced basically by a fan who loves the fucking franchise so much he wants to see more Saw films. I'm fucking excited. Because whether you like the torture porn category of horror film or not, the first Saw movie was ingenious. And after that, I honestly love them because I love seeing what the production staff comes up with for devices. It's not the story so much. It's the special effects crew that have to think of new ways for someone to die without the killer being in the room. And those guys have done some insane work over 7 films. And now they get to do it again. And just for that alone, I will be there in the theaters when this comes out. I've seen every Saw movie in the theaters. I owned all of them on DVD or Blu-ray. I fucking love this franchise. And I hope to God we get at least, a cameo by Tobin Bell. Because his Jigsaw character is probably the most original addition to the horror franchise since Chucky. Like, fucking Jigsaw is an amazing, ingenious idea that they came up with back when they did the first movie. And yeah, I'm super excited because we're getting more Saw. So there will be blood, bitches. There will be blood.
I'm not a huge Saw fan, but for those that are, this is exciting news. Hopefully it's good. I think I watched the first one, maybe two.
The first one is a genius film. After that, the storylines do get super convoluted. It's insane. Where literally, if you watch I did a couple months ago, I think in Halloween, I watched all 7 again. I really went from Saw 1 to Jigsaw over the course of like a week. And it's insane where they added in basically John Kramer, Jigsaw the Killer, is dead by like the 3rd movie. But he's still in all of them because of flashbacks and timelines. And it loops through to where he ends up having like 3 different apprentices that are helping him with these murders. Where after everybody thinks everything's safe, years later, people start dying again. And it's more Jigsaw traps. It's more apprentices. And so it's one of those things where they writ it off where basically anybody could take John Kramer's manifesto and just go murder people in his way. And it, continues the story. So, I mean, it could be something where Chris Rock could be taking this story over to Japan. It could be like, a crazy fan of John Kramer in Japan starts murdering people in Tokyo. Like, there's no limits to what you could do with this franchise, as long as it's someone that's basically making people fight for their lives inside of death traps, and you're not actually killing them outright. It would work as a Saw movie. So, and yeah, it's one of those things where it's almost an untapped potential world that they can just keep building on. Because yeah, they did 4 movies after John Kramer was dead. Like, you don't even need the main character. It's just the idea, and the idea is great. And yeah, that original film, the very basic thing was 2 guys at a film school that only had a couple grand on them, and they're like, what's the cheapest movie we can make? 2 guys in a room. Why are they there? And from that, Lionsgate has made $1 billion almost. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they took the most simplest idea and built a giant franchise out of it. And it's never tried to be like actually funny. It's never tried to be, super dramatic. Saw knows exactly what it is. It's always been the exact same thing. And the other thing I love is when they started doing it as a release as basically every other Halloween, they started doing blood drives as well with the American Red Cross in association with them. And like they use the movie to, get blood donations in to help people. How is that not awesome? Like, they've actually made the world a slightly better place, getting people to go donate blood for those that need it. Like, it's fucking great. And it's just, yeah, it's a stupid, bloody horror film. Yeah, like Chris said, if it's not your cup of tea, if you don't like the first Saw, you're not going to like any of them. But if you do like the first Saw, there's some funny ass stories and some great, some great deaths. Like, there's so weird, fucking crazy deaths in these goddamn films, especially once they did the 3D one. Yeah, Saw 3D was batshit insane. They had a rocket cart with a fucking blade on the end of it that shoots through a woman. Like, it was fucking nuts. But it was exactly, you knew that off the trailer. You knew exactly what type of crazy, it looked like a 3D movie from the 60s. Like, it was that out there. It was fucking nuts. But yeah, they're fun, and there's going to be more Saw, so I'm excited.
Well, that's good news for those that are fans. Like I said, not my cup of tea, but I'm happy for those who do enjoy it. They're getting more.
I want to play a game.
That was
Or Triple H.
I was about to,
That's a different
time
game.
to play the game.
I was about to
Same
say,
difference.
And then Cody Rhodes is going to take a sledgehammer to your throne
Very different.
afterwards.
Who?
Cody Rhodes, the
Oh.
American Nightmare.
What?
Willie,
Yeah.
you're
You
fired.
got to think outside the WWE
Because I don't watch
bubble.
wrestling?
Yes.
You could have watched good wrestling for free last
I
night.
did. I watched it during the Raw is War era.
You could have watched good wrestling for free last night, which we'll talk about as we wrap things up. How do we wrap things up on this show? With a little segment called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and or nerdy things we've been getting into, so that maybe, just maybe, you'll want to go check them out yourselves. So I can't think of any fairer way to do it than to open the floor first to our guest of honor today, one Peter G, aka Sailor Poland, when I say, what you been getting into, sir?
Well, my voice is finally back to normal, so I can start doing my cartoons again. And the occupation has ended. So my German father and his Polish sympathizer wife, my mother, came up for a couple of weeks and occupied the house. So my Polish house was occupied. And
This sounds familiar.
yeah,
It does.
Yeah, it was a
So
surprise.
you were dealing with the Blitzkrieg.
Yeah,
A Bob? A Blitzkrieg Bob?
yeah,
Oh,
and
no.
they brought, my mother hadn't seen me in person. She'd been in Florida for years now. She hasn't seen me in person in years, and she started getting a reminder of why she didn't. They had a Shih Tzu named Bandit that died a few months ago, and they had the dog cremated. Ma brought the ashes to scatter up here because the dog spent so much time up here, completely forgetting Peter G is the master of the inappropriate comment.
Oh, no.
And yeah, they found a spot to dump some of the ashes. Ma's crying, my dad's crying. They tell me to go get the ashes, and I bring them up. I go, nothing says loving like something from the oven, and that.
Jesus Christ.
Well, to be fair, no need for song and dance. To be fair, for real, it's been a couple of months, you said, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, but I stole a joke from Penn and Teller to use on my sister. She had gotten one of her dogs cremated, and she had found this thing that it's glass cremation, where they take the ashes and they mix it with silica and they make a glass bowl out of it. It's like, it's a perfect reminder. It's elegant, it's decorative. I said, and best of all, your new dog can eat out of it.
I was going to use it for my cigarette butts, an ashtray.
Yeah, like I said, I stole that from Penn and Teller. They did the same joke. It's like, this is a dream come true. This is the same setup. I can't resist. And boom. So that's out of the way now, and I can actually start working on my stuff again. And Wizard World has finally started populating the list for Chicago. And there's not. So they have Jason Momoa as the big name guest there. Yeah, that sound you hear is the sound of women all over Chicago lubricating. But beyond that,
Oh,
That's
wow.
accurate.
yeah,
I'm lubricating.
yeah,
There's a
But,
reason
yeah.
he's Aquaman. He makes the world wet.
yeah. Yeah. Actually, one thing I'm wondering about, because Flashback Weekend is at the start of August, and Virginia Madsen's going to be there. Virginia Madsen was in a made-for-TV movie with Jason Momoa years ago, and if I could score a DVD. I think that would just, it's like, get her to sign it, and then 2 weeks
There you
later go to
go.
Wizard.
I actually remember her from Candyman.
Yeah,
She was awesome.
Yeah, her and Tony Todd and Ted Raimi are going to be there, and Tony Todd is actually going to be in the Candyman costume. So they're going to make him up and everything for photo ops.
That's awesome.
Like with the hook? Like he's putting the hook back on? Oh, shit!
And the rib cage?
Flashback Weekend is how a convention should be run. I mean, I'm only casually interested in horror movies, and I love going there. I have a blast every year. But
Damn.
yeah, they're going to have the main guests there are going to be Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, Ted Raimi, of course, is going to be there just because. I'm planning on going there in my Sequest cosplay and getting my my Tim O'Neill action figure signed.
Yes, Sequest for the win. You just won this entire show.
I want my Ash vs. Evil Dead season 4.
But yeah, the list for Wizard World is really barren, and the fact that they're only populating it now, it's less than 2 months away at this point. So it's like, please let this be a sign that Wizard is finally going to go away. The Seamus brothers are now their big convention, the Ace Convention, moves from Navy Pier to the Rosemont Convention Center this October. So they're trying to basically retake their turf. Their big name, they're going to have, he plays Jon Snow on Game of Thrones. I don't remember his name.
Kit Harington.
Yep. And Brie Larson will be there. The only reason I'm hesitant to go to Ace one, it's the Seamus brothers. Two, I don't want to get caught up in the friggin' culture war that surrounds Brie Larson. And third of all, it's going to be an expensive friggin' weekend. You got people saying, oh, she's too SJW. You got people saying that she's representing women's equality, stuff like that. Her feminism is no different than what mainstream is. So why everybody's so caught up in it, I don't know. She's just speaking her mind. She's trying to get other people to interview her. These are not crimes. So why there's a culture war around this whole thing, I just want to stay away from it. Let everyone act like idiots, and I'll deal with them later.
Because the internet likes to yell about stuff.
Oh yeah, it's just dumb.
Not wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, so Wizard World is finally starting to update, and there's I don't want to say anything yet, but there's an anime convention that may be interested in running my cartoons as a panel. which would be nice. It's a smaller convention, obviously. C2E2 isn't going to have me on their speed dial, but it would be an interesting experience. So I could but we're still sorting that out as to whether or not they're going to do it to begin with. Because let's face it, it is a fan convention, and I do have a somewhat negative opinion of fans. So it might be a case of this might not be the best guy to bring into this thing.
That being said, that's an awesome opportunity for you. That's great.
Oh, I think so too. If they say no, I'm in the same situation I was in before. If they say yes, it gives me a chance to expand my audience. So I figured, why not? Let's roll the dice and see what happens.
Hell yeah!
Oh, natural one. Fuck.
I shot myself in the foot.
And I got gangrene. I'm dead.
Womp womp womp.
Yeah, one of the Doctor Who's the only Doctor Who story I wrote that I disowned. I had a joke about that where Twilight Sparkle makes a reference to putting a bag of holding in a bag of holding, which you're not supposed to be able to do. And the Doctor is laughing at her, calling her a nerd. 18s across the board. She says, "And how do you know about 18s across the board?" And he just walks away.
Nice.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite gags. I was so sorry that story didn't work out the way I thought it would, because it really had some stuff I loved in there. Anyway, but that's me is getting ready to animate and looking at convention season heating up. So
that's cool. I will go next then. I am still playing my friend Pedro on the Nintendo Switch, trying to pull off random crazy combo moves, and it gets harder as you go further in the game to pull off those crazy combos. But there's just something fun about kicking a gas can into someone's face and then shooting it so it explodes in a ball of fire on them. I don't know. It's just fun and stress relieving. So if you haven't had a chance yet, go and check it out. It's $20 on the Nintendo Switch or on PC, I think it is. It's crazy. I talked about it last week how much I love it. I did watch last night for free on the BR Live app AEW's pay-per-view free show Fighter Fest, and it started off a little slow, but near the end, some crazy stuff. Like I've mentioned before, if you're a lapsed wrestling fan, go and check some of this stuff out. It was free last night. I still believe it is free on BR Live as long as you have an account, which is free to make. So go check it out for yourself. You can fast forward to the stuff that's really interesting to you. The Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin match I enjoyed a lot, and then the final match, which was a hardcore match between Joey Janela and Jon Moxley, was incredibly brutal. They did all of the typical hardcore match tropes you expect: steel chairs, tables, ladders, barbed wire. Oh, and the thumbtacks came out at the end. And then
Thumbtacks. Okay.
Jon Moxley removed Joey Janela's shoes and socks and threw him on the thumbtacks. And the dude had thumbtacks sticking out the bottom of his feet. I don't care what you say. I know wrestling's fake, but that shit would hurt like hell.
You can't fake pain.
Yeah, they put on one hell of a match last night. It scratches that itch for hardcore matches. If you're like, WWE hasn't given me a real hardcore match in years, go and check it out. It was a lot of fun.
Hold on a second.
Free show. Yes, Willie.
Imagine the tap dance routine you could do after that, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is that, I suppose.
Chris,
I'd be tap dancing.
On Steam, my friend Pedro is 15% off until July 9th, so it's only $16.99 on PC.
Steam sale right now. It is Steam sale time of year, so it's totally worth playing. I imagine it's one you can just plug a controller into your PC and basically play it that way versus using mouse and keyboard if you wanted. It's a delightful game. It's incredibly violent and bloody, which is why I was shocked to see it was on the Nintendo Switch. Other thing I've been getting into is that cable prices suck. We've talked about that before. I've complained about it before. So yesterday I officially put the cable on cable. I still have my internet, but I have now transitioned over to YouTube TV for my television needs. It has most of the channels I want, and anything that's not there, I'll just buy individual episodes of. But I have been pleasantly surprised with how nice YouTube TV is. Like, there's minimal buffer, minimal load time, and the DVR they have on it basically is if you record something or you tell it shows you like, it records all instances of them for 9 months. And then you can fast forward through commercials so long as it's not, this is the real shady part, not shady, but the shitty part. CBS has a deal with them because they want everyone to get CBS All Access with no commercials. If you watch CBS shows and you record it, if it is available on demand, they force you to watch the on-demand version of it where you have to get commercials. Whereas most of the other stuff on there, you just get the recorded version and you can fast forward through the commercials.
That's because CBS stands for cunt, bitch, shit.
Well, there is that, I suppose. So if you're looking into cord cutting, I've been looking at it for a while. I didn't know what service I wanted to go with. It was the DVR, honestly, that put me over and said, I'm going to give this a try. And the nice thing is, since it's just a cord cutting service, if I don't like it after this month, I can just disconnect and start a new service and try other ones. So I am looking forward to the price savings it will be. I went from paying roughly, when I broke out my internet separate from what the cable television was, I'm paying half what I was paying before for television. I don't have as many channels, but those channels I wasn't watching. So what does it matter? The only thing I'm bummed about not having right now is History Channel, because I like to watch dumb things on there from time to time. Like
That's
ancient aliens. No, just kidding.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but aliens.
So that's what I've been getting into. I will talk more about my experience with that throughout this show, and probably in a later edition of the GonnaGeek.com show, we'll do a segment of Chris Taps That App where I talk about YouTube TV and my transition to cord cutting. Because, hey, why not? Let's make a segment out of things. But that's what I've been getting into. Hey,
No, you're missing one thing.
What am I miss? Oh, I watched another episode of Letterkenny.
You goddamn right you did.
Where they made Fart Book.
Yep. Oh, you're on episode
Fart Book.
3 of season 1.
Yes.
You're getting to it.
I'm getting to it.
Wait to season 2, episode 3 is my favorite of
Get
all
this man a
time.
puppers.
Well, Willie, I'm really my plan right now, since I fell behind, is I'm going to watch an episode or two a week. And it tends to be that Sunday morning before we do this show is the best time for me to watch an episode of Letterkenny. So I tend to just pull that up.
Have season 2, episode 3 be your next episode, because you don't really have to really watch any of these in any particular order.
We will see whether I do that. I like to go in order when the options present itself.
There is no particular reason to.
Well, that's what I'm getting into.
There's an overall story that runs through the whole show.
What, are you talking about the ginger? Allegedly.
Spoiler alert. So
Allegedly.
that's what I've been getting into. I'm going to toss things over to Anthony and say, what you been getting into, sir?
Let's see. I've been getting into trying to not get my butt kicked too bad on the Fantasy Movie League. It looks like I'm in third so far this weekend. Lobster House Rules nailed us all by picking the Yesterday movie. He put up 6 screens of it, so he was 1 screen away and a choice of Rocketman over Avengers from having a perfect Cineplex. He's at 344 million for the weekend. I did 288, right behind Gotham City. And Willie screwed the pooch by picking John Wick 3 this week.
Yeah, well, I did awesome last week by picking all Men in Black.
Yep. Yeah, it's been weird. The Fantasy Movie League has been having some really weird weeks for what the perfect Cineplexes is. But yeah, still in the fight over there, having fun with that one. And then moving forward with the Goodreads challenge, I grabbed a stack of my graphic novels off of my need to read bookcase, and I'm now up to 34 books completed out of the 60 I'm trying for the year. So I'm actually 5 books ahead of schedule. I finished Fear Itself Spider-Man, which is one of the hardcovers I got from one of the sales at Captain Comics that I'd never gotten around to. Finished reading that, which was a pretty good one. It was when all the hammers came down and a bunch of heroes and villains became basically super-powered versions of themselves. And that one is The Thing versus Spider-Man, where the Thing had a hammer, was a big old jerk, which is pretty cool. And then I finished Gladstone School for World Conquerors Volume 1. So I'm now started reading Volume 2, and I got 3 waiting to go after that one. It's a hilarious world where there's a bunch of kids going to a school for supervillainy. All their parents are supervillains. They think their parents are the coolest people in the world. And then they find out that the heroes and the villains of the world actually have basically professional wrestling style fights. The whole world is under an agreement where they don't actually fight and kill each other anymore. And when the kids find this out, they get really pissed because now they're angry that their parents aren't actually beating these people and that they're just playing out a story. So yeah, it's a great book. It's a great book. Really cool artwork. Gladstone is really fun stuff. Then I've been got caught up on watched all the season 2 of Cloak and Dagger, because that was coming off of Hulu, I think, on Monday. So you still got today if you haven't finished all of those episodes. And season 2 was really good. They did a really good upgrade, kind of moving towards getting them to like the power level, and actually got them in more of the suits basically from the comics. You actually got a shot basically inside someone's head where you got Cloak in the cloak and Dagger in kind of her ballerina outfit. So it was getting closer and closer to actually having them in superhero outfits while still just basically being kids with superpowers. And the writing on the show has been really good. The villain they faced this year was fantastic. It was something I don't know if they've ever done in the comics before, but it had a lot to do with voodoo and the Loa, and they introduced Baron Samedi in this version of the show. And then they actually connected it to the Marvel Netflix shows. They had one kid looking at a newspaper that had an article about the hero of Harlem, Luke Cage, on it. So as far as I know, it's actually the first connection other than just the Roxxon Oil Corporation. But it's weird that they're doing that now that the Netflix shows are gone. So it's like, I mean, it wasn't necessarily the Netflix, version of Luke Cage, but it did mention Luke Cage. So
This was
it showed that
it was probably in the pipe before the cancellation happened.
More than likely. But yeah, it was weird because, you don't really see a picture of Luke Cage. You just see the headline. So it didn't necessarily connect to the Netflix show, but it did show that Cloak and Dagger are part of the larger Marvel universe. So that was cool. And then, I finished all of Letterkenny finally. And then got caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, still has the warning message about the contract. And you have to watch a commercial before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and after Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is so weird because I don't see commercials on anything else I watch on Hulu, but just that one fucking show. And then, just got my tickets ready for Tuesday because Tuesday's going to be a hell of a day. I got the 56th movie in my Marvel opening day movie streak. The Dark Phoenix was 55, so Spider-Man Far From Home will be 56. I will go and find out exactly. Yep, on Tuesday is the official world premiere. They're doing it early because it's 4th of July weekend, so they're not going to wait till Thursday night because it would be a holiday. So they're doing the actual release date for Spider-Man Far From Home is Tuesday. Going into last week, I'd almost forgotten about that, and I had asked for Friday off from work and went, oh shit, I need to change my schedule and get Thursday or Tuesday afternoon off so I don't fuck up my streak. So I'll be going to my 56th Marvel film on opening day on Tuesday, and then when I get home from that, it will be the launch of Watson and Season 2 Battle Pass on Apex Legends. So I will come home and shoot a bunch of motherfuckers. I've been playing a bunch of Apex Legends and a bunch of Dead by Daylight. Still trying to get the goddamn adept with Ghostface. I keep getting just survivors that are kicking my ass because, like I said, the matchmaking's been messed up. So I'll go in as a rank 15 killer, and I'll have a rank 17 and a rank 14 and a rank 7. And it's like, what the fuck? I should not be going up against people that are damn near 10 levels higher than me. But it's just been problematic. But eventually, I will get that damn adept. The nurse I'll probably never get, but I will get the Ghostface one eventually. And playing as Ghostface is fun. Him and the pig are the only killers that can teabag, and Ghostface can literally, it's a touch of a button so you can bounce up and down. So it's kind of ridiculous that you can stalk somebody, sneak up, one hit down them, and then fucking teabag their corpse and then go put them up on a hook. It's really good for stress relieving after work. I enjoy it. Go, teabag some motherfuckers, Ghostface stalk and stab them.
That's fair.
That's what I've been getting into.
So, Willie, you're here to close things out for us. What you been getting into, sir? Hopefully some good stuff.
Well, last week I bought the replacements digitally only since I can't ever find it in stores. So, yay. And then I went on a little bit of a movie buying spree and got some other ones. I finally picked up Captain America, the First Avenger. That was the only Captain America I didn't have. I was like, fuck it. I'm already here. Might as well pick up Captain Marvel as well. And then I also got Leprechaun Returns. Because I'm a little curious about it. I want to see it. So I got it. I was like, fuck it. It has the digital version. Why not?
Which number is that in the Leprechaun series?
I don't know. It's not Warwick Davis. So I don't think
it's not even Warwick, huh?
I think it's supposed to be a sequel to just the first one. I don't know because it brings the bigger guy from the very first movie. He was also on Pee-wee's Big Adventure as the asshole that stole his bike. But and I also got Mortal Engines just because I wanted to see more of that. What's his name? Robert Sheehan, I think it is, from Misfits and Umbrella Academy. And I also got Us, and I picked up Dragged Across Concrete, which I haven't watched yet, so I don't know anything about it. It's one of those things I just said, I'm randomly going to pick this up and take a chance on it. I do know it has Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn as cop buddies, so I'm a little interested in that. That last movie I took a chance on with Vince Vaughn, Brawl in Cell Block 99, was damn good. So I'm giving Vince Vaughn a chance here. So why not? And then I also picked up Batman and the Ninja Turtles animated movie.
Is it good?
I haven't seen it yet,
okay.
So I can't tell you. Because, I've been just disappointed by the DC animated movies as of late. Just disappointment after disappointment. Batman Ninja. I'm gonna bring it up again. You land in feudal Japan. You know you're in feudal Japan, and you get surrounded with a bunch of samurai cops and like with Joker's face like on the mask. Who is your master? The world's greatest detective, everybody, who can't figure out these fucking people work for the goddamn Joker. Fucking bullshit is what that is. So hopefully throwing Ninja Turtles in there gonna make it good.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
Good. All right.
They make a couple of changes from the original comic story, but it just streamlines it. It's not detriment. Oh, and the end credits, they have mashup covers of Batman and the Ninja Turtles from the classic Detective Comic days. Great to look at.
Okay,
So I had
look
fun.
forward to it.
Yeah, I had fun with it to the point where I'm like, can we get more of this, please?
Nice.
And I also finally watched a movie I bought a while back. Finally watched it fully, Overlord, which was not bad. Oh,
Have
and
you rewatched Captain Marvel, Willie, since you got it?
No, I haven't actually had a chance to watch any of these movies I bought other than the replacements because I bought that last Sunday, and these I think I just picked up Friday.
My friend's doing a deal with me now where when I buy a copy, I keep the physical and give her the digital, and then she just did the reverse this time. She bought Captain Marvel, gave me the physical. She kept the digital. I've rewatched it twice since then. That third act is way better than I remember in the theater, and I rewatched the entire film with the commentary on. It's worth watching with the directors talking. They bring up a lot of really cool stuff that they were going through while the film was being made. It's a really good commentary track.
I mean, I thought the movie just overall was okay. I wasn't gonna say it's good or great. It's okay. I mean, I the one thing I really did like, spoiler free, because spoilers all together. The Skrulls. Loved how they did that. Loved it. Great. That was the one
Are you
thing.
talking about the story or the special effect?
Both. Why not? Let's talk about the story though. How they're not really the evil people the Kree are saying they are.
Yeah, turning them in from what used to be basically the big bad in the Marvel universe into basically a refugee race is a hell of a change. That was something I didn't see coming when that movie came out. But yeah, auto rewatch. I like it more than I did.
I perceive, especially looking in with that. Looking forward to seeing it. And then I'm also been playing Dead by Daylight. Guess who's rank 4 survivor right now? I'm in the red ranks.
4? Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't win every goddamn match. In fact, there's like long streaks, so I'm just dying everyone. But I'm doing all like the objectives that I need to do, not just objective, doing the generators. But I'm pulling people off hook, healing people when I can. Those all get you to pip up. So I'm not looking to pip up. I'm just doing the things I need to do. When sometimes you get those matches, you just get some of those matches where no one's doing a goddamn generator.
Oh yeah,
they're all worried about the goddamn hex rule and just work through it. God.
Oh, hex ruin, just to slow the match down just a little bit.
Oh, fuck off with that. Yeah. Unless you get those survivors who only think like, no, we have to take care of this. Otherwise, we can't do the generator. I got prove thyself. We can do this. But other than that, I'm getting ready to be gone this coming week. Going to if you've seen Eastbound and Down season 3, going to old Myrtle Beach.
Nice.
So, yep. Apparently, I've got a free place to stay, and it's like a short little walk to the beach itself.
Can't beat that.
And also because someone really wanted to go to this place, and I'm not against it at all. We're going to medieval times.
Nice.
I will relive my cable guy favorite moments. La, 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 la.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Randy Pitchford thumb drive while you're there. You might get lucky.
Randy Pitchford.
Gearbox Software.
Yeah.
Gearbox. That's where it was. Yeah.
He left a thumb drive behind that had not only business documents but also porn. Some of them potentially underage.
At medieval times or Myrtle Beach?
At a medieval times.
Well, there's only 4 locations, aren't there? Or 3?
If it's potentially underage porn, I wouldn't want to look for that, and I wouldn't want to have it on my person.
I would love to find it so I can turn it in and saying, bring the pitchforks for this motherfucking pitchforks.
Well, the
Pitchforks for Pittsburgh? Is that what you're trying to say?
The thing that threw me was that, one, it's a thumb drive with sensitive business documents, and second of all, get 2 thumb drives, one for your porn and one for your business documents. You're the CEO of Gearbox. You can afford a second thumb drive.
Neither one should have underage porn on it, no matter how many thumb drives you have. That's so fucking creepy.
They allegedly, because they have not identified what kind of porn it was. Pitchford did say what the girl was doing, but that was it. But we only have the word of the person who found it as to whether or not it was underage. We don't know about anybody else.
So I can't find it.
Right.
It's already been found. So why are you telling me this stuff? Oh, you got me all excited and happy.
Because if he's done it once, he might leave another one behind. It's like an Easter egg hunt. It's an Easter egg hunt.
He just drops them wherever he goes.
Do you really need to go to a medieval times more than once in your life?
I haven't been there once, period, so I have no idea.
This is my one and done.
Well, guys, it is time for us to start wrapping up the show. We've gone a little late today because we had some good content to talk about. But before we get out of here, let's toss things over to One Sailor Poland. Where can folks find you online so they can see more of your work or whatnot?
Right here, right now. Boom, done. I'm kidding.
Well, I'm on YouTube under More Animation Studios. It's a lot of geek-centric humor. The playlist has been kind of stagnant for a little bit, but that's hopefully going to fix up soon. Going to get back to work on the 6th episode of Herman Crab and get that up and running. And then from there, it's I really want to get the 5th episode of One True Pairing done just so I can wrap the series up. Sailor Moon Fanboy, and then I'm working on some other stuff as well. I'm currently developing, I'm going to be an animation runner for a short movie about Robert Smalls. Robert Smalls is one of the most badass Americans in all of history. During the Civil War, he was a slave, and he impersonated the white captain of his riverboat in order to escape the South. And he was able to pull it off, and later on, he went back. He actually led several raids to free slaves and bring them back up north. He eventually got elected into Congress. He bought the house of his former owner and let the owner's mother live there until she died. This guy is an American badass. And I wanted to tell the story of his first raid where he actually escaped freedom with this. This thing should not have worked, and somehow it did. And I found another guy who wanted to do it also. So he's going to produce it. I'm going to direct it and animation run it. And we're going to try and have it done in time for next February, next Black History Month, and also before C2E2. And then from there, it's on to work on Sailor Poland. So that I'm really looking forward to. That's been a long time coming, and it's time I actually got on the stick with that.
Sounds like you got a lot of cool stuff coming up, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's I have a tendency to keep busy. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Well, that's fair. Well, I know I speak for all of us when I say thank you for joining us today, because it's always fun having you on here. We got to learn about the Taco Bell Resort, which is just mind-bending. And I know where I'm going on vacation next is to go to Taco Bell.
I know where I'm never going.
I know I want to go down the guacamole lazy river.
Going there comes with a courtesy colon cleanse if you go to the Taco Bell Resort. You'll come out flushed and clean. Why not?
You can get that at any Taco Bell in America. Come on,
there's a cardboard box behind the dumpster, and I think you might find a free bottle of Mad Dog in there if you look.
But I don't have to. Mad Dog. I don't have to clean the toilet here. That's the thing too.
Wait, at your place, you don't have to clean your toilet?
Well, I meant if I go to the Taco Bell Resort. If I do it at my house, I gotta clean the toilet. That's a problem. Nobody wants to get the post Taco Bell toilet.
They take care of that, right?
Yeah. You used to be married. How'd that work for you, Willie?
I'm divorced now. What do you think?
I rest my case.
Happily divorced.
Divorces are expensive because they're worth it.
She paid for it.
Everyone, don't forget that we do this show live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, over on Geeks.live. That is the official streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. If you're watching us on one of the various other places that we syndicate out to, easiest place to find us, Geeks.live, 11 a.m. Eastern, every Sunday. That being said, it is time for us to shut this thing down. As we shut it down, you guys have any final thoughts for us?
Don't trust the ginger. Allegedly.
Run for the toilet. Taco Bell's done it again.
Run to the hills.
Later, fuckers.
Well, on that note, we are shutting it down. Thank you so much to everyone that did join us, and we will see you all next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.